We must now reveal the hidden truths that Butler has revealed. An unexpected success. Nobody anticipated 300 would become one of the most talked about films of 2007, when it opened in theaters in early March. The Zack Snyder-helmed picture, which was adapted from Frank Miller's graphic novel, eschewed both conventional historical storytelling and A-list actors. Instead, it presented a highly stylized depiction of the Thermopylae battle, complete with passionate performers, slow-motion combat, and striking visuals. Despite studios' concerns about the project's viability, 300 blew away audiences. Thrillingly, 300 made $70 million, 0 cents in its first weekend of release. Hollywood was taken aback by this enormous triumph, particularly in light of the very low $60 million 0 cents budget for the picture. That was just the beginning of the momentum. 300 became one of the most successful and talked about movies of that year, earning over $456 million, 0 cents worldwide. The film's financial success demonstrated that viewers were ready for an innovative take on storytelling and visual flair. Both Wikipedia and Business Insider note this surprising success as a watershed moment in stylized filmmaking. The film 300 sparked a huge fitness craze in addition to its cultural and mimetic effect. The sculptured bodies of the Spartan soldiers, commanded by King Leonidas, played by Gerard Butler, set a new bar for muscularity in film. The question of how the actors got such dramatic bodily transformations quickly arose among viewers worldwide. The now encomic 300 workout, a high-intensity fitness regimen utilized by the cast in advance for filming, was soon popularized by magazines and personal trainers. This workout went viral, sparking a larger discussion about fitness, manhood, and commitment, according to GQ. After the film's run in theaters ended, its impact on fitness culture only grew. Soon, gyms were offering training plans based on the Spartan mythology. What most people don't know is the true story behind the scenes of the popular film 300. Pain, sacrifice, and dogged perseverance lay beneath the stylized graphics and raging combat. Fans didn't see anything till Gerard Butler spoke up. The story that unfolded as he started to spill the beans about the cast and crew's hardships was far worse than what viewers saw on TV. Now we can reveal the shocking details that followers were unaware of. On set, the everyday costs, injuries and hospitalizations. The comic novel by Frank Miller was brought to life by director Zack Snyder with innovative digital backlot techniques, powerful visuals, and nearly shot-for-shot authenticity. Snyder created a vivid, surreal, mythical and violent world using cutting-edge blue screen technology and scenes heavily reliant on visual effects. A harsh truth, however, lay beneath that spectacular show. There was more going on behind the scenes of 300 than just Hollywood brilliance, claims Gerard Butler. Injuries, fatigue, and trips to the emergency room were part of the daily grind. Butler stated in an interview that she remembered someone being brought to the hospital every single day. There would be an altercation. Around you, you pivot. Someone is down there. His eye was pierced by a spear. You see a man over there who has recently fallen and broken his ankle the second time you turn around. It was just crazy. Although the fight choreography appeared precise and organized on TV, the intense physical demands frequently resulted in mayhem in practice. Although real firearms were blunted for safety reasons, they nevertheless presented significant risks. A spear almost hit an actor in the eye during a fight scene. In a separate incident, a cast member broke his ankle in an unfortunate tumble. These instances did not occur in a vacuum. Actors wore heavy gear and navigated cramped areas flanked by blue screens as they executed take after take of high-impact stunts for the film. An error could not be tolerated. Nonetheless, harm occurred on a regular basis. This was partly caused by Snyder's decision on how to film the action sequences. Many performers were either told to do their own fight scenes or were expected to do so instead of using conventional stunt doubles. It was expensive, but the end effect was more realistic and striking visually. It was an extreme test for the performer's physique. A lot of people got wounds, bruises, and ripped muscles. Every day was a challenge on set. Every glorious second of slow motion that you saw on screen was the result of blood, guts, and toil. The actors had to use their creativity and stamina to make it through the film because of all the CGI. They had to stay in character for hours of monotonous, draining movement while they swung swords against green screen backgrounds and battled inanimate foes. It was a brutal combination of acting and physical training. After a long day, Butler would often say that he felt mentally and physically exhausted. The cast persisted in pushing through the discomfort. Butler willingly accepted the pain that accompanied the role of the Spartan monarch. The scars and trip to the hospital were a cost. The courageous and forceful portrayal that the audience witnessed was actually the result of a demanding and frequently risky production setting. Injuries aside, the ensemble was pushed to their physical and mental limitations by the rigorous physical preparation that began well before filming began. Punishing physical preparation, makeup and costumes were not the first steps in becoming Spartan warriors for 300. The month-long physical preparation that Gerard Butler and the rest of the actors endured at Jim Jones's training facilities was the first of its kind in Hollywood. Butler put in 7 months of non-stop training to portray the warrior King Leonidas. His sessions could go on for 6 hours straight, and they were incredibly draining. As part of my training, I did circuit training on repeat, intensive sword fighting drills, heavy bodybuilding, and CrossFit. Sites like Gerard Butler Net and Gerard Butler Gals claim that this was no ordinary exercise regimen for Hollywood A-listers. The goal of the radical physical makeover was to elevate regular guys to the status of legendary heroes. Jim Jones's premier fitness expert, Mark Twight, oversaw the training regimen. Twight's techniques were designed to challenge the actors to their physical limits. Twight fused high-intensity CrossFit workouts with conventional conditioning, weightlifting, and martial arts, all while maintaining a direct and result-oriented outlook. In order to get the actors ready for their battle scenes, training even involved combat simulations. In order to keep their pumped appearance for the camera, the performers would often exercise weights or do calisthenics while they were in between takes on set. Putting on a brave front wasn't the only goal. The goal was to build strength. That Spartan fighters had to look as solid as stone, yet they had to move with the strength and accuracy of actual troops. True functional strength and stamina, as opposed to merely muscular, were to be developed. The ultimate primate and how stuff works are among the sources that point out that the cast did more than merely lift weights. They did many push-ups and pull-ups in quick succession, flipped tires, swung kettlebells, and raced through obstacle course. There was a lot of repetition of martial arts training that combined real-life motions with choreography. The objective was crystal clear: to train the actors for combat as well as cinema. The increasingly harsh nature of the training has been openly discussed by Gerard Butler. It almost ruined his body, he said afterward. Painful injuries such as tendinitis, hip injury, and a torn rotator cuff were caused by the constant wear and strain. Eventually, Butler's arms were so fatigued that he could hardly raise them. The desire to fully embrace Leonidas drove him to press through. His commitment was felt on an emotional as well as a physical level. In an interview with Business Insider, Butler revealed that he was in constant physical pain from training, which was particularly noticeable when filming. After long days on set, the actors would get back to the gym, either to keep their muscles defined or to get ready for the next major action sequence. An endless loop of exertion and weariness ensued. The training continued even after filming began. Difficulty increased. According to him, the suffering brought out in him the ferocity of a genuine Spartan leader. There was more to playing Leonidas than just learning lines and hitting marks for Butler. Every time on screen had to be earned through struggle and sacrifice. The majority of the actors participated in a formal 8-week training program, which went on to become famous in its own respect. In order to achieve a Spartan physique in record time, it combined CrossFit routines with harsh endurance drills and high web weight circuits. As a result of the training's legendary status, it was subsequently published online and adopted by fitness centers globally. Supporters and exercisers tried the regimen on their own, and many of them struggled mightily to finish it. What really distinguished Gerard Butler from the other actors was the depth of his emotional, mental, and spiritual investment in the play, which went beyond the physical demands and strenuous routines. The ultimate dedication of Butler. The way Butler portrayed Leonidas was described as both unorthodox and immersive by one media publication he claimed to have pondered frequently in an effort to channel Leonidas through some strange gateway. Acting the part of a warrior for the sake of camera time wasn't enough for Butler. He was desperate to know what it was like to be the leader of 300 men as they faced certain death. Incorporating this meditation into his daily routine allowed him to fully inhabit the role, bringing authenticity and intensity to his portrayal. Beyond internal work, this dedication went far. Butler also decided to do a lot of his own stunts, even if they were physically dangerous. He reasoned that if he did it personally, the part would seem more genuine. It wasn't just about making an impression. Respecting the position was paramount. He credited one of the film's pivotal battle scenes in which he enthusiastically immersed himself as one of the most exhilarating experiences of his career. He put his whole heart and soul into every slash of his sword and yell of rebellion. There was risk due to the high degree of involvement. Despite filming taking place in a safe studio, Butler and the rest of the cast were no strangers to actual dangers. According to People.com, Butler was regularly put in dangerous circumstances, both during 300 and subsequent films. Take his case of hypothermia on set in Iceland as an example. I had a harrowing encounter on a different film starring Pierce Brosnan while performing explosive vehicle stunts. Butler has repeatedly put himself in harm's way for the sake of authenticity and passion, as these challenges show. His career, defined by courage and perseverance, began with his performance in 300. Adaptability and concentration were also needed to overcome the specific production issues that arose on the 300 set. Screen Rant claims that the film's graphic violence was mostly unnecessary, but the bulk of it was digitally inserted in the editing process. Without the typical visual signals, the actors had to rely on their imaginations to react appropriately. They weren't led by expensive makeup effects or blood packs that explode. On the contrary, he and his co-stars had to act out the mayhem of combat on blue screens. This called for a high level of focus and acting chops, particularly in sequences that were emotionally intense or physically demanding. Mental and physical dedication to Leonidas, which Butler displayed throughout the film, was defining of his career and contributed to 300's lasting impact. He didn't merely recite lines from a script. He went into a state of mind where he experienced firsthand the weight of leading troops into combat and accepting death without fear. Even though the picture was replete with exaggerated violence and visual effects, his portrayal felt genuine and unfiltered because of his readiness to do stunts, endure pain, and accept risk. Now that you're familiar with Butler's transformation into Leonidas, let us show you how the battlefield came to be. Utilizing state-of-the-art technology and a visionary approach, a warehouse was transformed into a realm of myth and conflict, complete with tech-driven visual style and on-set circumstances. Throughout the production of 300, Zack Snyder had a crystal-clear vision. He aspired to create an unprecedented level of realism in the adaptation of Frank Miller's graphic novel. In Snyder's plan, Miller's panels were practically shot for shot, creating an immersive visual experience that faithfully reproduced the dramatic tone of the source material. Reports indicate that visual effects played a significant role in about 90% of the film's shots, as reported by Screen Rant. Snyder created the mythical realm of Sparta using significant blue screen technology, which gave the entire picture a painterly quality and felt like a moving graphic novel. I'll show you the interior of that procedure. The entire film was shot in a Montreal studio rather than constructing enormous sets or traveling to historical locations. The performers rehearsed practically every scene in front of blue screens with very few real props in a hot, claustrophobic setting. During post-production, the entire Spartan realm was digitally recreated, including the cliffs of Thermopylae and the chamber of the god king. Because of this, Snyder was able to take the graphics to a mythical level by controlling the lighting, weather, and surroundings. But this wasn't without its price. The set became unbearably hot due to the artificial lighting used to create the film's distinctive contrast and brilliant skin tones. Physical weariness and scorching heat were challenges that the cast overcame. The actor who played King Leonidas, Gerard Butler, went through the worst of it. He came clean about passing out on set from dehydration and overwork later on. The players were physically and mentally drained from working under bright heat lights, donning armor, and executing demanding battle choreography for long periods of time. Their mental and physical limits were continually tested. As a result of the dedication to style, artistic choices prioritized tone over realism. The Oracle scene is a prime example of this. There was some scripting behind her enigmatic and nearly incoherent speech. As per Screen Rant, a significant portion of her dialogue was improvised in order to heighten the surreal and unsettling nature of her persona. The choices made by Snyder served to highlight his objective even more. In order to build a universe based on myth and symbolism rather than factual reality, we painstakingly sculpted every movement, line, and background detail to convey the concepts of glory, sacrifice, and destiny. The impact of 300 on contemporary fitness culture extends beyond its visual appeal. The physicality of the actors was just as important as the use of special effects in creating the film's aesthetic. The actors did the notorious 300 workout, which entailed performing 300 repetitions without break in order to give the impression that they were actual Spartans. Exercises such as pull-ups, deadlifts, push-ups, box jumps, floor wipers, and clean press drills with a kettlebell were part of this program. Only one member of the cast managed to finish the entire routine, as reported by Men's Health, due to the workout's extreme intensity. For more than a year after filming Wrapped, Gerard Butler confessed he was too tired to practice at all. The audience was immediately captivated by the Spartans' ripped and sculpted physique. Similar training methods started to be promoted in fitness magazines and at clubs. The film reportedly generated a broader discussion over unrealistic expectations of physical fitness and body image, especially among young males, as reported by Time Contem and Entertainment Tonight. An idealized version of the Spartan physique, slender and powerful, became the norm, followed by a flurry of imitators. Even outside of Hollywood, the film's impact on fitness culture was felt all around the world. In spite of the cast's heavy workload, injuries and creative demands, an unexpected link emerged, a strong sense of camaraderie. Join me as I introduce you to the newfound fraternity among the ancient Greeks. Butler, who played King Leonidas, was the unofficial leader of the Spartans and the story's protagonist. The importance of the performer's bond in bringing Sparta's spirit to life was something he discussed publicly thereafter. Michael Fassbender, Dominic West, Lena Headey, and David Wenham were more than simply co-stars. They were an ensemble cast. Not only did they become teammates, but they also became emotional anchors and training partners. Their bond allowed them to feed off of each other's energy and persevere through the most challenging aspects of filming, according to Butler, who characterized the experience as life-changing. To make the Spartan relationship credible, he said, the cast's trust and friendship were just as crucial as the choreography and speech. All members of the cast were required to undergo rigorous physical conditioning right from the start of the production, during daily sessions that extend for hours. Their bodies hurt and they were fatigued after the brutal 300 workout, but they worked together, sometimes silently. The goal of these workouts went beyond merely increasing muscular mass. They fostered devotion. Actors didn't simply endure hardship in unison. Despite the suffering, they were there for one another, encouraged one another during rigorous workouts, and enjoyed each other's company during recovery, lunches, and laughter during the brief intervals between takes. The workouts became a ritual for Butler and his co-stars, drawing them closer and helping them mentally align with their warrior characters. Butler has mentioned how the bond of brothers and respect was strengthened by the shared pain. The cast had already formed an unspoken agreement and bonded by the time filming started, he remembered in an interview. He claimed, "We worked together like a squad. We felt like veterans by the time we stepped foot on set. We were aware of one another's abilities. We were there for each other while we were hurting." It grounded the performance. You could feel the authenticity of their bond in the film, in which the Spartans are portrayed as more than simply warriors. They are also shown as an interdependent force that succumbs to the will of its members. The friendship went beyond the gym sessions. The cast members vented their frustrations about the oppressive heat, the alienating blue screen, and the exhausting physical demands of donning armor in a studio setting. In order to get through the long hours and multiple takes, they relied on one another and the mental strain of performing without the aid of conventional sets and backdrops. Actors David Wenham as storyteller Delios and Lena Headey as Queen Gorgao brought a sense of connection to their roles, which helped to elevate the dramatic weight of sequences involving sacrifice, loss, and farewell. The group dynamic, according to the then rising star Michael Fassbender, helped him maintain focus and dedication. The actors became closer beyond the pages of the script as they worked toward the common objective of upholding the Spartan ethos of bravery and devotion. Their real-life bond served as the emotional bedrock for the unwavering solidarity displayed by their on-screen characters. Now we'll get into how 300 changed culture, film, and even fitness in ways that weren't immediately apparent. Consequences on society and the past. Few could have foreseen the enormous cultural impact of the 2007 film 300 when it first debuted in theaters. A stylized film based on Frank Miller's comic novel soon became a worldwide phenomenon that touched many other industries, including advertising, fitness, fashion, and pop culture at large. The film revolutionized the way a new generation saw epic storytelling and marked a turning point for stylized historical epics, as pointed out by CNET Live. The fact that 300 revolutionized visual narrative is one of the film's most striking features. Snyder laid the groundwork for his unique style with the use of dramatic lighting, digitally enhanced slow-motion battles, and high-contrast color grading earlier in his career. This extremely stylized method produced an enveloping universe that seemed eerily familiar, as if it were a legendary tale handed down through the ages, rather than a conventional historical piece. The visual style set the tone for a slew of subsequent movies and TV shows that followed suit. Game of Thrones, Spartacus, Blood and Sand, and Immortals all took cues from 300's theatrical flair, which was evident in the use of slow motion, stylized blood effect, and intense close-up action to convey scale and passion. Epitomous after 300 proved that audiences were prepared for daring graphic novel-inspired storytelling. Studios felt more comfortable taking visual risks. Despite its limited screen time, 300 had a significant influence on the fitness industry. A new standard for masculine fitness was set by the sculpted physiques of the Spartan fighters. Trainer Mark Twight created the now canonic 300 workout for the cast, and it was immediately embraced by fitness centers, personal trainers, and fans all over the globe. The routine was published in forums in magazines such as Men's Health. The techniques used to change the cast were detailed in a great number of papers. Many people started working out with the intention of getting a Spartan physique, which brought discipline, self-esteem, and endurance training into the public eye. Discussions regarding contemporary notions of strength and masculinity were also ignited by the film. Its portrayal of a band of brothers bound together by honor, devotion, and sacrifice struck a chord with viewers all across the world. Fans of action films and people looking for contemporary inspiration from ancient ideals found common ground in the themes of loyalty, bravery, and defiance in the face of overwhelming difficulties. The line, "This is Sparta," yelled by Butler's Leonidas, went beyond the film and became a societal criticism, meme, and viral sensation. Because of this one scene, 300 will forever be ingrained in popular culture. The film 300 rekindled scholarly interest in antiquity and the Thermopylae War in particular. The film's premiere caused Herodotus' histories to sell more books, and professors started using it in their classes to illustrate the difference between fiction and reality. The film's veracity was a point of contention among historians, but they couldn't deny that it piqued the interest of students who may not have looked into the subject otherwise. There was a sea change in Hollywood with 300. The fact that it became a box office smash, despite lacking A-list actors and being shot primarily in a warehouse with blue screens, is a testament to its success. Zack Snyder was likewise thrust into the limelight as a result. His work on Watchmen and Man of Steel paved a way for his future efforts. Gerard Butler, too, experienced a meteoric rise to fame, becoming an action movie hero and household name in no time. The impact of 300 is unwavering, even after all this time has passed. Its boldness and success have made it a work that is often cited, analyzed and admired. It was more than just a movie. 300 had an impact on media and fitness thanks to its visual style, physical demands, cultural quotations, and influence. It sparked a social revolution. Despite the widespread influence of the film, Gerard Butler felt its effects on a more personal level. Let's take a look at how 300 revolutionized his career and solidified his position as a major player in Hollywood. Affected Gerard Butler's professional trajectory. Gerard Butler had a string of little parts in films and TV shows before becoming a household name thanks to 300. He wasn't exactly a household name despite his charisma and talent on display in previous performances like his 2004 turn as the Phantom in The Phantom of the Opera and cameos in films like Timeline and Reign of Fire. Although these efforts did help him get his name out there, they didn't give him the breakthrough he needed to become a household name. In 2007, with his iconic performance as King Leonidas in 300, directed by Zack Snyder, he finally achieved that moment. Instantaneously, the picture elevated Butler's profession. He was physically dominant, exuded an intensity that would go on to become one of the most iconic lines in cinema, and commanded every frame as the courageous and fearless Spartan king. Our city is Sparta. Both the character's power and Butler's sincerity in his portrayal made an impression on viewers. He gave it his all during physical preparation, persevered through rigorous training, and gave an intense performance. 300 was more than a hit. Butler embodied the essence of this phenomenon. After 300 became a smash hit, Butler quickly rose to the ranks of Hollywood's most desirable leading males. Studio heads and casting directors saw his acting chops early on, particularly for parts that required physical and emotional heft. His acting career took off, and he soon found himself starring in both romantic leads and action films. After that, he went on to star in P.S. I Love You in 2007. In a love drama with Hilary Swank, he displayed a softer side to his acting. With this part, he was able to break out of his action star stereotype. He showed his versatility and willingness to play many types of roles in his 2009 action flick Gamer and 2008 criminal drama Rock and Roller, both of which were directed by Guy Ritchie. After that, in the 2009 thriller Law Abiding Citizen, he portrayed a guy out for vengeance against an unfair legal system. It was a financial success and a showcase for Butler's acting chops to play characters with multiple layers of moral complexity. The romantic comedic and romantic film genres also gave Butler his footing. In 2009, he co-starred with Katherine Heigl in the romantic comedy The Ugly Truth. And in 2010, he extended his trend of commercially successful but critically mixed releases with Jennifer Aniston in The Bounty Hunter. His versatility was confirmed and he remained in the public spotlight through these films. Although he dabbled in other genres, Butler is most known for his epic and action role, Gods of Egypt, 2016 was his comeback to ancient history. Tackled disaster in 2017's Geostorm and hosted the Fallen series. From 2013's Olympus Has Fallen to 2016's London Has Fallen and 2019's Angel Has Fallen, playing the role of Secret Service agent Mike Banning. These films solidified his reputation as an action hero and garnered a devoted fan following who identified with his tough, no-nonsense character. Greenland, 2020, and Machine Gun Preacher, 2011, are two of Butler's smaller, more character-driven films that blend action with deeper emotional themes. These roles demonstrated that he was capable of starring in huge blockbusters, but he also enjoyed stories that tested his acting chops. Gerard Butler has established himself as a Hollywood mainstay. In the time after 300, he was catapulted to stardom and his career was defined by The Picture. It brought him an international following, a defining role, and an outlet to play a variety of characters in other genres. A lot of people will always think of him as King Leonidas, the courageous fighter who made dying appear like a predetermined course of events. However, for Butler, 300 marked the start of a trajectory that catapulted him into the status of one of the most iconic and long-running stars of contemporary film. Gerard Butler has spoken up about the difficulties that 300 faced behind the scenes. What are your thoughts on this? Was your impression of the film altered by his dedication and the cast's arduous journey? Leave a comment with your ideas. Your feedback is much appreciated.